Good morning, Applied Geometers. Today you are to try and complete quiz number 6 in class. And since I am not there to help you, I figured I'd give you a little boost to make this happen. So up until now, we have practiced setting up a proportion if we have a right triangle and you draw in the altitude to the hypotenuse. That creates two similar triangles as you see me tracing them. And we can use these to set up our proportion. So this first question can be tough because there's no numbers in it, it's all letters. But if I look at the blue triangle, I could compare the smaller leg Z to the larger leg X. And in the green triangle, I could compare the smaller leg Y to the longer leg Z. And if I look down at the answer choices, that happens to be number 3. Now in question 2, we might have to go a little bit of a long way to find this A to B part. So now we could use the entire right triangle that has a hypotenuse of 12. And I'm just going to call this missing side X. So like if I did the leg over the whole hypotenuse, and then I could compare that to this littler green triangle where the leg is 3 and the hypotenuse of that is X. So now when I cross multiply this, 3 times 12 is 36. X times X, we talked about this the other day, it's not 2X, that makes X squared. And if I'm going to undo a square, that means I have to square root both sides. And I'm trying to pull up my calculator right now so you can see how I would type that in. Oh, there it is. Square root of 36 is 6. Look at that. It was already in there. Hot dog. All right. So I think for number 3, I'm going to let you try this one on your own. They want me to find B to D right here. So I'm going to use this little triangle with 2 and X. And then I'm going to use the green triangle with the 8 and the X to set up a proportion and solve it. Okay, so I want you to try and do that one on your own. Now, number 4 is going to bring in what you were practicing yesterday with factoring. So again, I'm going to compare the 2 triangles inside of the big right triangle. And they tell me C to D is worth 6. D to B is X, and A to D is X minus 9. So I'm going to do the idea of shorter leg X minus 9 of the red over longer leg 6. And then shorter leg of blue is going to be 6 over longer leg X. Now when I multiply this time, I have to make sure I remember to distribute the X to the X and the 9. The other side, I'm just going to get 36 again. So when I distribute, I'll get X squared minus 9X. And if we have a squared, we have to set this thing equal to 0 so we can try and factor it. So we're going to subtract 36 from both sides. So I'll get X squared minus 9X minus 36 equals 0. And just like we did yesterday, I want to start thinking about numbers that multiply to negative 36. And then out of those numbers, we're going to find 2 that add to 9. So if I'm using my calculator, I can go into y equals. Look at that. It's in there again. And do negative 36 divided by x. And as I'm looking through these, I want to try and find a pair that is 9 apart. So right here, 3 and negative 12 are 9 apart. So I'm going to have a plus 3 and a minus 12. If two things multiply to be 0, we can set each of them equal to 0. So this would give me -3. And here I'd add the 12 and give me +12. Now, in the realm of this question, they want me to find the length of D to B right here. It makes no sense for it to be -3. So we're going to cross that off and just keep the 12. Moving on, I'm hoping you're finding this helpful. This one says to find A to B. This one again uses like the whole triangle and then this little piece on the side. So for the whole triangle, I'm going to have to add that together. So in the green triangle, I've got leg 3 over hypotenuse x, and in the blue triangle, I have leg x over hypotenuse 15. When I cross multiply this, I get x squared equals 45. And this one says in simplest radical form. So we're going to have to kind of practice that. But what I'm going to do is I want to try and break apart this 45 into numbers that multiply to it. So maybe I think 9 and 5. And then I can break the 9 down into a 3 and a 3. And I can't break the 5 down. So now 45 could be written as 3 times 3 times 5. And a square root, we want to find a pair of identical factors, which one's going to break out and the other is going to stay underneath. So our final answer is 3 radical 5. Moving on to our last problem. They want us to find each variable, which is kind of confusing. So at the end, I want an x answer, a y answer, and a z answer. To start off with, I'm going to use the little blue triangle and the little green triangle to set up a proportion. So shorter side 8 over longer side x of the blue. Shorter side x over longer side 18 of the green. And when I cross multiply, I'm going to get x squared. And when I multiply 8 and 18, I'm going to get 144 perhaps. Let's double check my mental math. And can we square root 144? And the square root of that is 12. So I at least now know x is 12. Okay, and then from here, I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem. Like if I flip this blue triangle around, I've got a side of 8, a side of 12, and then this y. So I'm going to do 8 squared plus 12 squared equals y squared. So I'm going to have to add 64 to 144, which this is looking like 208. We'll double check that in a second in the calculator. And can I square root 208? It's not looking like it, but the direction said if it's not, if necessary, to round to the nearest tenth. So right here, the 0.4 is the nearest tenth. 5 and above, give it a shove. 4 and below, leave it alone. Still don't understand that part of the rhyme. But we're going to go with y is 14.4. Okay, so you can set up the same thing for the green triangle, and I want you to solve for z, which is going to be our c value. That's our hypotenuse. But this time we're going to use 18 and 12. Don't forget when you're done with this to turn it into the substitute. I hope this video helped. Have a great day.